environment and social safeguard delays. As we go ahead, you realize that environment is becoming a very sensitive issue. However, management is doing their best to ensure that we live to the expectations. Chair, we also have right-of-way gaps. Currently, we are at 65%, and most of this area acquired is from Malaba up to around Nikanga. But there are still some areas, a few, that are not fully paid up. But efforts are made to ensure that, at least by time of construction, the construction starts, we are up to date. Chair, since our SGR is going to run by electricity, there are also issues with the traction power delay. Efforts are made to ensure that when the construction is done, we have a reliable electricity. So efforts are made to ensure that all the necessary infrastructure is on the ground to ensure reliable electricity. We also have operations and maintenance readiness gaps. Like I said earlier, this is good. The SGR project is going to construct but hand over the line to URC to manage. And the URC needs to build capacity to manage the SGR. Then, of course, the cross-border interface gaps. This was also a challenge to harmonize between Ugandan SGR when it's constructed, which uses electricity, with the Kenyan diesel-driven.
Just pause there a bit. I think some of our members who have just arrived, they are trying to catch up with us. There is a presentation written Ministry of Works and Transport Standard Gauge Railways, which all of you should be having. We've now reached on slide
21.
Slide 21. Are we all there? Okay, proceed.
So slide 21, we were basically looking at the risks that the project, the SGR faces. Maybe just to recap on members, we have the financial close. There's a challenge to ensure that by November target, we have the financials commit to sign to finance. Then we have E&S, that is environment and social safeguards. There are always a lot of issues to ensure that during the construction of SGR, environment is taken, given due consideration. And also, social safeguards looks at the neighborhood that will be affected along the alignment. Then the right-of-way gap looks at, as you are aware, the project started in 2016, but up to now, we have not yet acquired the whole right-of-way. So there are challenges in those gaps. Our SGR is going to be using electricity. So there are a number of things that need to be done to ensure that when the project is complete, there is reliable electricity. So it is also a risk. Then we have operations and management readiness, and this will be done by URC. Once the SGR project is complete, it will be handed to URC to manage, to operate and manage. So URC needs to have the capacity. So there is no risk. You see that. Then we have cross-border interface. As you are, co-chair and members, honorable members, Uganda is going to use electricity, while the Kenyan is currently using diesel. And 8 hours is going to have to run across up to Mombasa. Good news is that this has been discussed technically and harmonized, and technical team and us in Uganda are already still in touch with our counterparts in Kenya on this issue, sure that there won't be any issue. Chair and members, we are on slide 22. Looks at the support required from government. Chair, this project started in 2016 and we are in 2026. That's more like 10 years. But we haven't finished the and of course there are also other challenges in terms of getting financing. But now the fact that looking at a set deadline, there's need to ensure that we actually get money. Of course, when talk of financing, the main issue here is the money to construct. We are looking at having the financial committee by November, but it's not guaranteed that all of them will sign. So this is where we need support. Then we have E&S support. This is to maintain institutional support for disclosure, audit, gap closure, and regulation. Support card is on when this SGR is constructed, there will be need to support URC to operate and manage. Then we have the land. We need to prioritize land money for compensation of PAPs, so that when the construction starts, we have a full right of way without encumbrance. Then we have the utilities, especially power. As stated, the traction will need power. The SGR is going to be using electricity. So this is more like another project. So this is where we need government support. Slide 23 looks at the priorities for the next 6 months. We have the financial closure to this financial committee to finance the project. The Islamic Bank has already communicated that they are giving us 650 million euros. So there's need to follow that up to ensure that the money is actually availed. Then there is also the counterpart funding from government. That's 15% of 2.7 million euros. That's about 405. Which government is trying to secure us through to cook. So a number of efforts are on this to ensure that these certificates are issued and that money is available. E&S requirements are becoming very critical to ensure that when the construction is in progress, due consideration is given to environment. So a number of companies on the ground to ensure that this is done. Then we have land and LNTP handover. Current contract of LNTP is supposed to expire on the 16th next month, August. So there is a need to prepare for handover, the reports and other assets they have constructed. Then the system readiness, that is advanced power and Kenya harmonization. There are still discussions on a number of these areas. Chair and honorable members, 24 looks at expected SGR outcomes and benefits. Here, with a reliable freight movement, with the more predictable long-distance cargo freight, SGR is more reliable than road. First of all, it carries bulk cargo and is not interrupted by jams on the road. It is more reliable. Then we have the regional trade. With SGR connection, trade, our goods will move faster from Uganda to the border and for export. We shall also have passenger connectivity. This SGR will have a part for use for passengers. which is also beneficial. Second last, we have road safety. I know recently we had an accident on MGR, but for SGR, compared to the road, there will be hardly any accidents. A number of measures have been put in place to ensure that there will be limited crossovers between the road and the rail. A number of them are either the road passes down, the rail passes up, or the other way around. And even then, where they cross, there will be safeguards to ensure that accidents are avoided. Honorable Chair and honorable members, this SGR will provide a number of jobs, both directly and indirectly. And in conclusion, honorable Chair and members, full construction depends on timely financial close target. That's we're expecting to be November. And then E&S disclosure and the priority for right of way must be availed so that by the time we start the construction, the whole construction site, that's from Malaba up to Kampala, is availed. And then the provision of construction power and the O&M and the harmonization, these are all in place and they are progressing well. Chair, through the Honorable Minister, I submit. Thank you.
Yeah, Chair, thank you so much. I think that's what we're able to present, and back to you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Minister and your team. This SGR certainly we have overweighted for it as a country. And Kenya is already ahead. Was it 3 years ago when we saw the President of Kenya doing a rail test, sitting in the train? Then last year or 2 years ago, the one of Tanzania also, we are watching clips of how far they have gone. In your presentation, there were a lot of key areas which my colleagues are going to respond to. But one, the unexpected challenge of availability of electricity. How multi-sectoral engagement, or what multi-sectoral engagements have we so far gone in? Because you consume electricity in this project, but you do not produce electricity or have control over it. How have you engaged your sister minister? When you said the Kenya design uses electricity, diesel, which I expect to be the Chinese standard, true or false? And then Tanzanian standard is using the European standard, which is electricity, isn't it? So for us as Uganda and Tanzania, we will be on electricity. The only odd man out is Kenya. We would like to hear from you what are the immediate challenges which you have started addressing, because you said you have done engagements. For purpose of this meeting, how will you lay our affairs in the area of engagement with Kenya, electricity versus diesel? We want to know what you have so far done. And then coming to the issue of the funding, it all depends on how you guide the government to do engagement. But I'm very sure everyone is excited that this SGR must be actualized. Thank you very much, colleagues. The floor is open. Honorable James.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. First of all, I want to thank the Minister and SGR. Honourable Chair, for me in Utaleja, through you, Chair, want to inform members that I was fully compensated. And even from Tororo, the other side. So, Honourable Minister, that railway construction may take maybe 2-3 years. You will be starting with the Tororo as you wait for us. So for me, I was compensated. Now, Chair, there was an issue which he talked about, and Chair, you have really brought it. I wanted to know through our Chair from the Minister and his team, when an electric train ends, for example, in Malaba, how will the goods reach Mombasa? You know, we're a landlocked country. 2, if we can't, are you planning to buy a diesel engine so that when you reach there, you do the traction? And Honourable Chair, you raised, because power, when we commissioned the dam of Karuma, have you really known how much power you want? And have you written to the relevant ministries? Because power, they would have started a long time. So I really want that. And then finally, Honourable Chair, I was told there was a contractor from Turkey. I heard on media that they were suspended. The contract was, I was for the construction of SGR. When I go to Butaleja, before you reach Iganga, there was something I saw they were building. They were telling me it is SGR, but media washed it that the Turkish company was suspended and the contract cancelled. Honourable Minister, can you tell the country whether what social media was saying is the truth? And if they terminated, why? Were there some mafias in your organization who had hidden money and the government saw that it is going to be over expenditure and they spend? So, but Chair, when we look at this way, I'm happy. He was saying that this, with SGR, there will be no accidents because they will be automated, and this is what we want. But as Butaleja, we were compensated, but there was a rumor that the whole of Butaleja district, we don't have a station. Chair, they were telling our people, I had a quarrel with the KK. I thank God that the president saw and he saw him off. So can you assure the people of Butaleja, KK, there was an MD managing director, Chair, who was in SGR, the first one. They had escalated the price. We went to Ethiopia with the Fanduma here to do benchmarking. Ethiopia is a highland, but the price of our SGR was 3 times. Moreover, the soil conditions, the topography, theirs was worse. When we came, we presented a report. Some of us got time. We sat with the president in our NRM and top management meeting, and the president suspended. So, can we know from the minister? The other SGR, Honourable Chair, they were telling us we either go to Tororo or go to Namutumba. And when you go to Namutumba, you just cross another bridge, swamp of Budumba. Can we know if Butaleja will have a station? And if not, Honourable Minister, where do you want the people of Butaleja to go? Without a station, whether you have compensated us, we might think otherwise. Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Honourable Chair, earlier on I asked the people of West to tell me whether they have a plan to take this railway to Murukula through Masaka. I don't see any plan like that. I've asked for that for the last 5 years when I've been in Parliament. And there is a very dangerous road is very dangerous with trucks and very narrow road.
Yeah.
So I asked, where do we connect with Tanzania and Rwanda? And I want to be sure, even if it is not to be done now, a feasibility study is going on. Is there a route plan? Isn't it the time that you start acquiring land after this side as you're working, you acquire that side as, you know? Otherwise, people are going to buy the places and then you come saying that you don't have money to compensate. So for me, I'm asking, and it is the only route that will have passed southern Buganda for the first time.
And it has the advantage of compatibility.
Yeah.
Our technology and the one of
Rwanda
Tanzania
and the one of Tanzania are compatible.
Yeah. Okay. Are you done?
No, not yet.
Okay.
That is one. Then the other, my brother talked about the contractor, Yapi Mackenzie. Yapi Mackenzie, you said it is an EPC turnkey project. What is its role? Because we are borrowing the money 100%. We are, what are they? Are they just mobilizers of staff to do this railway? What are they coming in as? Because they are not bringing the money. Are they bringing the expertise? We can also hire the experts from, and they are part of the staff of SGR. What exactly are they doing? I wouldn't want to go into the other part of how they were procured and what that is for another day. The other is, you only have funding for IDB, Islamic Development Bank. What assurances are you giving us that the other partners are ready by, you said November? What assurance? Is the government of Uganda going to be ready? Is the money in the budget? And or have we borrowed that money from somewhere? Have you brought in a loan request and we have, you know, you're sure? Because the budget for this financial year started. 15% is how much? Billion.
405 million euros.
Million euros. Yes. Is it highlighted in the 1 point something trillion, 84 trillion budget?
No, this is going to be acquired to the Sukuk. Government is going to issue. I think they are planning to issue in August this year. A number of processes are in place to ensure that we get this money before construction.
So we are going to borrow it from somewhere.
Yes.
And how about the other 65% from Turkey? Given that you know how Yapi Mackenzie is in Turkey, I don't want to get into that story. So are we sure that our partners in Turkey are ready for the 65%? Because the problem is going to come, we have right of way, we start construction. Oh, you said you've done some structures of around 250 million. I have seen. These warehouses are less than 500 million shillings. Now, okay, the batching plant, you call it 4 billion or 5 billion of the work that you have done here. But we are talking about a multi-billion project over, is it how many $billion?
2.7.
2.7
million.
I also want to be given assurance that your cost on this standard railway is going to be $2.7 billion only. Because as far as we are concerned, we are tired of Busegapiji was 547. It is now an extra 700 billion. Now you have this. According to the statistics I've seen with other countries, it might go to up to around 15 billion with the time. Unless you're saying that this only section, the eastern route, is 2.7 billion. Then when we add the northern region, going to wherever, that is Nemule and the other side of Maracha, then that one will take another maybe $5 billion. Then when you add the Masaka, it will take another, unless you're phasing it, and it will be Yapi Mackenzie all over. But what I'm asking, apart, but
proceed.
what?
Proceed. Yeah. You proceed.
So I was saying, what is the actual standard cost that we are going to have for this thing? Are you sure that when we get this money to the end of it, we shall come back to this committee in another 3 years and we shall need more money for it? About the PAPs, he's saying the PAPs are happy. I wanted to inquire from you whether you have any challenges with the PAPs, because in the last Parliament, you highlighted that there are some PAPs that had encroached. You had paid them, but they had come back. Others were not. Others had refused to leave before you pay. There were issues to do with PAPs that I don't see. I have seen. This is the first report that I've seen that has no challenges.
At least Butaleja is a witness.
No, but for me, I'm seeing one report that has no challenges at all. You need to go. The moment you get money, you'll never come back here to tell us anything has gone wrong.
Okay, are you done? Okay, you and then Honorable Fred. Let's take the three in the queue. Then we go.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is also an inquiry after hearing the submissions, because 10 years down the road, since 2016, now it is 2026, you have been struggling to get the right of way, which you have not got, because you have said some areas are not yet cleared for you. And the experience we have with the Minister of Works, recently they came here telling us how they had changes on the Usega Mpiji Highway, and they ended up in the swamp, and the costs were inflated. Now that you don't have the right of way, are you likely to follow the drawings you have, or you may end up having drawings which will end up with an extra cost? And at the same time, with the experience still in your Ministry of Works, they told us they started implementation on the draft drawings. And as we see now, also on SGR, you have already started the batching plant, the warehouse, and so on. Are you also still working on the draft drawings, or you have the very drawings that you will follow, such that we don't end up destroying the warehouses and the batching plants to create a right of way for the SGR? Thank you.
We'll have lost money. Honorable friend.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and the presenter, and all the staff from Standard Gauge Railways. Of a few areas that require further information. One is about the ERP Mackenzie procurement. How was it done? Was it open? Did you go single? And why? Two, when was the contract signed?
With the ERP Mackenzie?
Yes. And then what was the contract, the project duration? And what was the project cost? And up to date, how far by percentage have you achieved? Madam Chair, through you, may the SGR staff provide breakdown of the euro 75 million spent under LNTP. You provide breakdown and identify the assets the government will own if construction never begins.
The deliverables up to that level.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are you done?
Then lastly for now, is there any binding agreements which exist between Uganda and Kenya on the interoperability. If it is not there, what happens if Kenya, Naivasha, Kisumu, Malaba section is delayed? What happens? For now, let me stop there.
Thank you. Colleagues, Mugole will not know all the names in a family on one day. My honorable colleague.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Alex Diosaba. I represent the people of Bufumira South. Mine is on the traction power, which is the SGRs to run on electricity. And there are preparations with the ministry and the players in electricity. Is it going to run from a different power grid from our usual one, our usual national grid? Because you know our national grid is not reliable at all. It's on and off, and I don't know what they are telling you. Would want to know whether there are any other preparations to use something different that is not part of the national grid. The other one is I've seen from your presentation the future extensions go for Eastern Route. For this, the Eastern Route is the first one, Northern Route, Western and Southern. I can see you have not actually considered the connectivity on Lake Victoria. Don't you think it's also...
Information?
You know that Mirama Hills is from Mpungamo through, I think, Rechiniro, Ruhama, then Mirama Hills. That is all Western. There is no Southern here.
I've seen they have a spur to Muko, so that touches part of Southern. That's fine.
Which slide is that? Slide number?
Slide 4.
Okay.
They are saying Southern Route behind Mirama Hills with a spur to Muko.
Okay.
That is that goes south. That is towards my place actually.
Okay.
So mine is on the Lake Victoria, the connectivity along there. Because, you know, actually the lake is the cheapest means of transport. If we take care of that, we shall be saving a lot, much more than on land.
Yeah.
And I see you've taken care of the land and not the water. So I think it's important that that one is also put into consideration. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. I always interest myself in figures. Being an engineer also, you need to look at that. I'm trying to look at the comparison between the cost per kilometer in Uganda and the cost per kilometer in Kenya. So you can find that in Uganda there is an increase. Uganda, a cost per kilometer is $7.32 million. And in Kenya, a cost per kilometer is $7.29 million. So you find that there is an increase of $300,000. It's about $1 billion shillings on top. So I want the team from SGR to explain to us how does that 1 million lab come? I mean, increase. How does it come? Then the other bit is, we all know about, since we're going to use electricity instead of the diesel, I want to ask, our electricity, there's sometimes blackouts. And you know, this is a standard gauge railway that moves at a high speed. Let's imagine there is a blackout. Don't you think we shall be losing a lot of people, a lot of lives? How are we going? So we look at that design well, because we need something that cannot be catastrophic to the transport sector of Uganda again. Recently we have been losing a lot of people. At the moment, the road sector is bringing us 15, we're losing 15 lives every day. So we cannot now go back to that. And then the other bit is, I see in your planning, I'm from Karamoja, you see, you make this, put equity in this planning. I don't see you planning for Karamoja to have the SGR. So sometimes when you say only other regions, you make us get annoyed a bit.
And yet you're starting.
Yet we're also paying
a lot of
taxes.
factories are coming there.
Minerals are coming up there. We have a lot of them minerals. So it's the highest time you start in Karamoja. You cannot be living now Karamoja. Without Karamoja, this country will not move. You should know that we have now the biggest depots of gold in the whole world. Without that, you're dragging this country behind. Thank you for now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Where is the Tapsol coming from? Butaleja? No. Please proceed.
My observation, Honorable Minister and the representative from SGR, is on slide 9 and 10. Whereas we have got an impressive indicator from the Honorable MP from Butaleja, the compensations and so on were done, and therefore there is a right of way there. I still have a lot of reservations in many parts on that rail line, on that SSA, standard gauge line or meter line to Ginger from Butaleja. And I'm sure the number of PAPs that are not yet compensated. The biggest problem Uganda's infrastructure is contracting when you have not acquired the right of way. You'll know whether it is right, because most of the indicators are showing that. When you come to slide 9, the contractor was engaged in 2020 Mackenzie to start the work. My question is, you have not acquired the right of way. Can we presume that we shall not have any escalating costs thereafter because of those problems? Question number 2. You are using the EPC turnkey contract. The option given fixed the cost. We including fixed costs.
No.
This contract is not the measure that will be changing, and eventually we shall get 5 times the cost by the time we go to the gauge. I know of one or two projects where EPC has been fixed and the project has been phased for 5 years, but the cost is known. Have you taken efforts as technocrat to ensure that you fix the costs so that the government of Uganda and Fair does not lose its money? And then finally, since the parts were not paid, you are not 100% sure. Is this contract phased that you contracted with? Is it phased that it is in phases? Or it is one complete whole, even without acquisition of the PAPs, payment of PAPs?
Okay.
I need some response on those.
Okay. You have a microphone there? The mobile, help him with the mobile microphone.
Chairman, thank you very much. We have heard about standard gauge railway for over a decade. I don't know whether these ladies and gentlemen are part of the team have been singing standard gauge railway since 2015-2016. Number two, in the budget paper, it is shown at 822.48 billion shillings, which is what is required to compensate people for their. So far, 360.2 has already been paid, including the peasants of that. They are saying the required amount is 482.78. When you add
for the outstanding.
Yeah, the outstanding. When you add the two figures, it exceeds one which is initially indicated in the budget framework by 21 billion. By over 21 billion shillings.
This is about 840. What we have here.
Yes. So, which is which? Well, as my colleague is saying, our figures continue escalating, going up. You throw some light on that.
Yeah. Still on that slide 17. I know the biggest problem is the pre-contractual issues. Perhaps dealing with those aspects. We have 4,137 perhaps unpaid. And there are contracts already signed with them that valuation then will go back to be done. Such that we are still having more issues, even up to closure of the project.
Yeah. Okay. We are less than 20 in this room. Let's pick all the concerns from the committee members.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Allow me to thank the presenter of this presentation, but in the future, some of us with 4 eyes should be considered because the fonts are too small. On slide number 17, when you look at the total land that was required, which was 3,512 acres, and you went ahead and paid for 2,047.51 acres, meaning there will be a balance of 1,464.49. Yet in your presentation, you have showed that the unpaid land is only 1,416. So maybe you can explain the variance to this committee. Number 2, you mentioned that the MDS government had identified land which was worthy.
Is that again on the last part of 17?
Yes.
Okay.
Of 1,253 acres, which was equivalent to 70 kilometers. So may we know as a committee, was this land compensated for or it was for free?
The one from MDS?
Yes.
Identifying it is one thing, but engaging them is another.
Then the last one, what environmental and social impact assessment have been done or conducted, and how will the affected communities be supported in this case? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, colleagues. Honorable Freddy Rejoinder.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair. I would like to ask a few questions on Sukuk coupon. What are the Sukuk coupon rate? The tenor, and the total debt service costs compared with ECA or DFI financing.
Okay. Is that
then 2, what are the key findings of the RUP's rapid risk gap assessment. Then, who bears the cost? The cost, if lenders identify non-compliance with IFC performance standards, who bears the cost? If lenders identify non-compliance with IFC performance standards. Then lastly, if ESDD identifies vital gaps in September this year, 2026, if ESDD identifies vital gaps in September 2026, is November 2026 financial close still realistic?
Okay, thank you.
I beg to submit.
And finally, for this session,
I want to know who has lived in SGR the longest since it began?
Among the ministers' team?
Yes. Who started 2016?
The one with the most institutional memory. Okay, Daniel.
Daniel, you're working as senior civil engineer. I wanted somebody to tell me how much we have spent in these 10 years. How much we have spent in these 10 years in SGR, how much we have appropriated as Parliament since 2016 to date. Because we want to know how much money we have given you for nothing yet.
Okay. Because really, like I said before, and some of you alluded to it, our anxiety has been kept rising. Not that it's a bad project, our anxieties are all because good which wanted to be actualized. And lastly, in line with what my colleagues have just said, we were told here by the team from Ministry of Works and Transport that the President has now directed that unless 75% of land is secured, no project will proceed. You've made broad statements here, but you've not quantified in terms of percentages. Have we secured the 30%, 40, 50? You said 65? Okay, which is still 10 units below the President's directive. Okay, back to you, Honorable Minister and your team. Which slide is that? Saying 65? 70. Okay, thank you. Okay, at the top there. Okay.
Thank you very much.
But also, colleagues, when we ask many questions, there is a tendency that some of them are lost in the responses. Please, you be tracking your questions, okay? Okay, thank you. Proceed.
Still, the Honorable Minister, thank you very much, and Honorable members. The first question, as per my report, was the delay in construction. Members, as we are aware, the government has been on this project for some time, but the challenge has been on securing financing. The government of Uganda had engaged with Exim Bank of China, and you had a number of discussions where the discussion didn't yield anything. So at the end, that contract was cancelled. And this is how Yapmakezi came. The main cause of the delay in this case is securing the financing for this project. The other question was on the reliability of electricity, given our situation in Uganda today. Honorable Chair, through the Honorable Minister, I request my colleague, the civil engineer, to answer this question. Daniel.
Honorable Chair and members, on electricity, there have been a number of questions. I hope I can put them together. The SGR Uganda is an electric traction network, and that means it requires power, and not just power, but reliable power. If we do not have reliable power, what will happen? I think that question also came through. Reliable power, we are working with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development together with the Uganda Electricity Transmission Company to give us power from the high voltage national grid. We are looking at 5 traction power stations dedicated to the SGR to get power directly to supply what we call the overhead catenary system, the line, the little wire where the train touches to run the 231 kilometers. Those engagements are ongoing. As part of the engagements, we required reliability confirmation. We actually had asked for 100%, but you had not technically, you cannot assure a 100% reliability confirmation. But we have a 98-99% confirmation on reliability. What will happen if the contract provides for generators at stations and the traction power stations to give you that impetus for the trains to run. But also the contract provides for diesel traction rescue locomotives. In the case there is a blackout and the trains can't make that last kilometer to reach the stations, then you run rescue locomotives.
Back to the first option, where we have standby generators. For instance, for how long will this train go if power goes off now and the standby is not started automatically? For how long can the train tolerate?
From the simulation, Chair, the distance between stations, what we call the intersection distance, is about 25 kilometers. And the train can run about 12 kilometers.
Almost half of 25.
The next passing station or loop to get a diesel locomotive or another mode of action.
Okay.
Maybe, Chair, before it's that point.
Yeah, that's part of the tracking of the question.
So I'm asking him. He talked about engagements with the Uganda Electricity Transmission Company and the Ministry of Energy. Has there been a power purchase agreement signed? And if it has been, is there a firm traction power delivery schedule? I beg to I hope you have got it. That how much power do you need? So that must be the power purchase agreement.
Yeah.
And if the power purchase agreement you have already signed, you table it before this committee.
I'm discussing with them because they secured it. Then the power supply authority said if we have something little, let it now be out for the SGR, isn't it? And then the option you made to go for this to think we're still weak. Our electricity is not yet to the maximum. But oil, we are now going into things. There will be diesel available.
Yes, Chair, we don't, to answer him directly, Chair, we do not have a power purchase agreement signed right now. But on the positive, Chair, this week on Tuesday, we had engagements with the electricity regulatory discussed exactly that. The power purchase, actually bulk power purchase agreement, together with provisions for how we can operate an electricity network, because a long network requires special licensing. And those discussions are ongoing. They promise to guide us on how it can be done, how to ensure the license, how to handle the operation and maintenance that goes with such a network, and issues to do with the safety of that network. How much power do we need? We have 5 traction power stations, and each traction power station requires 40 MVAs. Now, that is not the only power we need. We have auxiliary facilities which will require additional power, including such aspects as the marshalling yard in Tororo. We have workshops, which are maintenance workshops. You have inland container depots, which require power for cargo handling, as well as stations which will require. Five traction power stations. 40 MVAs. Yes, sir.
Okay. Chair, I was the first to ask, but none of my questions has been handled.
Chair,
the process is still on.
Yeah. Thank you very much, my honorable minister. Yes. I think the issue of electric for the traction has been clarified. Actually, now I'm getting to the Butaleja. Actually, Butaleja will pay 100% of all the pumps. And the issue of the station, these stations are located based on some study to ensure that we actually get real value for money. We expect to have about 13 stations when all is done. But as we talk now, I think we have about 11 only. So I think with the time, you may get a station in Malaysia. I cannot talk to the authority, but that's the status.
So, through you, Chair, it is on record the way the KN, you need to provide a station of Butaleja.
It is more of into economic.
So we can't pay.
You've mentioned the value for money. Can you specify it?
You mean Butaleja we can't pay? There is enough.
Okay.
It is not that you can't. We have a station in Tororo, very close to Butaleja. So it will be very economical as of now to put another station in Butaleja. And it is one of the biggest we have in Tororo. Yeah, I think that's the reason.
Okay. What will the distance be? Because I'm aware that Butaleja comes out of Tororo, the bigger Tororo. What will be that distance?
The distance between Butaleja and Tororo, I may not give a definite answer, but not very long.
Chair, it's 51 kilometers. You can measure. You ask the man.
From center to center. Okay.
So basically, that's the best which they identified areas to construct stations as of now. And not constructing all.
Butaleja already has a route. He's fighting for a station.
Chair, I've gotten the answer and we are going to handle.
Okay. Good enough. You are somewhere in the center of government.
Hope we shall not tell people to be against the project.
Proceed.
The other bit was on the information showed me that YAPI was suspended. I can say that's not true, and the project government has not got any communication that YAPI has been suspended. Currently, as we talk, YAPI is the contractor for SGR. Chair, the next part is on the cost of SGR compared to that of Ethiopia. This I can explain in terms of also that of Kenya. There are a number of factors that make our SGR unique in terms of cost. I can give a case of, we have the Nile Bridge, which may not be in Kenya. That's a significant cost. We also have the tunnel, which is also a very serious cost. And then also we have spurs. There are branches from the line to a number of areas, which may not be the case. So to compare the two lines, you're not comparing like and like. So as for now, I think those are some of the key significant cost centers that that raises ours up. Chair, the other bit is on the line to Rum Tukula. I can say that discussions will are that we shall have a line connecting from the southern route to Tanzania's Rum Tukula. But as per now, we have Bukasa Port that is at a high level in terms of its development. Why we shall use the Lake Victoria to Mwanza to serve areas of Tanzania.
Point.
Bukasa Port is up to, what is this? You have up to in, what is that part? Kira? It's not Kira. What is that? Kirinya here. We are talking about a route that's going to take care of the whole 11 districts of Butu, of Greater Masaka. You understand? Like you've taken Tororo to take care of
both goods and human beings.
Okay, but you send Tororo to take care of the Bukedi region, Busia, Butaleja, Chibuku, and all those center in Tororo and Mutumba. The northern route will take it. The other that you're taking to Muhanga, to Muko, is going to cover. The other in Mema Hills is also taking care of the border there, the border of Mema Hills. Now there is a border here from Mutukula, and it has a lot of cargo.
Yeah.
The 11 districts, 11 plus the city of Masaka, and all those goods are not nowhere on the standard gauge rail. At least you give me a feasibility study that you've started something. But it is something you neglected completely.
Honorable Minister, I think I've taken it from here.
And I'm going to
projects in phases. We want to think that these other ones.
All the rest.
But in the presentations, we want to hear that you've now started doing studies for Southern. Definitely, we all need it.
Because this one stops at This one stops at Busega, the meter gauge. You go still Busega. We have Busega that is working on that for the road. But we have a lot of goods, coffee, plus those that the trucks that enter from Mutukula, they spoil that road. In 10 years, we do not have a road between Masaka and Kampala. Just 10 years. We don't have a road between. We constructed it at almost $400 million. We don't have the route now. In just 10 years, it has spoiled. So we need a rail there between Mutukula and Busega.
Okay. Honorable Minister, in the next presentations that you consider taking that route in your studies.
Okay.
Chairman, just one here.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, we need the standard gauge railway leadership to provide us with a list of people who have been compensated. How much? Say it here, but how much each? Because I'm seeing it remaining an issue. Then
is your microphone?
We also want to be aware with agreement between Kenya and Uganda in terms of the personalization of this SCR when it's operating terms and conditions that we have to by as a country, and also those terms and conditions that Kenya by when we start operating. The issue of Uganda cooperation, after they have finished, they are supposed to hand over their assets and everything. So what we saw in the morning, people are not ready. they are still very weak to take over the assets of SGR in case they have finalized everything. Chair and colleagues here, I think we need to come to terms and the conditions to advise the government, because you cannot take such kind of very big project to such a entity which is not prepared, very understaffed, very weak to progress. As you saw, they are moving, and we just say it is okay. This standard gauge rail is going to be a very big project, which we have to be proud of as Ugandans. We need to put it in hands of right people who will manage it very well, not to allow equipment, assets just be stored like that, and they cannot stand to say this one is lost. Finally, Mr. Chair, we need to be availed with the list of projects ongoing, how far they have gone, the sources of funding, the status, the report, how much they have spent so far, how much they need, how much total these projects are going to cost, because as they have said, they are implementing in phases. And what we are seeing is the issue of financial gaps funding. And maybe finally, I want to ask them, apart from mentioning these risks, the challenges you are through, did you propose something in the budget which we just have finalized in allocations? Have you gotten something? It is a new thing just you have just did not foresee, because we have just passed the budget. We are still seeing this money is being demanded for project affected persons, and we would expect by now for you to be telling us that in this financial year we have been allocated this amount of money to pay PAPs, to pay this issue of electricity. Maybe what is your PR with Uganda Electricity Transmission Limited, because these are your partners, being that is an electric train. We need to hear challenges of you see, and maybe Chair, we also need to call you UETCL, because they need to be as proactive as possible. They need to support this project so that it can move at the pace that Uganda, according to its development plan 4, it has set, so that we can be able to meet the completion in time, but also to make it start operating. I submit, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Nathan.
It's more of especially to the minister. You can see when I talked at the beginning last week, this week, that the member should be given ministerial policy statements. Especially the whole of this group, they are all new members. They would want to be part and part in the sector. Okay? That, you know, because when you say it's a soft copy, somebody cannot read that huge book. Only. So print copies for 30 members and give it to them. Because when somebody talks about the funding for this one, it's a you know, your meter gauge is a priority in the whole of it almost. You have a good share of the money. But members don't know, because they don't have the process statements. Kindly, Honourable Minister, make the point that these members get copies of the process statements, and we move together the same page.
Are you coming back to us in 7 days? Was that our resolution?
Mr. Chair, the ministerial policy statement, we can provide a copy for you, but at the same time, the copy is already with the Parliament. Yeah, that's what I said. We can agree for the ministries to provide, but these are documents which are already in Parliament. So I don't know how we, maybe whether we only extract that part of the ministry and we get to you. Something we can speak, we can talk with the clerk. Our team will talk with the clerk and see how to manage that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Courtesy of the ministry.
Thank you very much, to my Honourable Minister. There was a question on assurance that will the financiers commit to sign to provide funding. Chair, we had a meeting recently at Ministry of Finance with a team from Citibank, and there's a team that came from also Europe. And they actually stated that even if the development banks, partners fail to provide funding, they were ready to be the cap. So the issue of funding, we are quite very positive. The government has done their best to ensure that there will be financial close in November. The only challenge you may have is that maybe the issues which we are also working on seriously. Otherwise, in terms of financing, I think that will be fine. The other bit is that will we live to the 2.7 million euros contract cost? Chair, we have signed a contract for that amount. Just like any contract, we expect the contractor to live to that cost. That's what I can say for now. Challenges on land acquisition. Chair, we have
what is
information?
What is EPC to you? What does that mean to you? Because an EPC project is on a fixed cost. That's why we ask that question. You don't say we expect him to live on that cost. It should be that. Because the one is the one doing the engineering, is the one doing everything. Is the one that is designing, is the one that is working, and finally he hands over. There's nothing like he's going to do this. That's why we asked that question, that we don't want you here again after saying you're giving us an EPC turnkey project.
Chair, I agree with the Honorable completely. Just like in a contract, the contract is expected to supposed to live within the contract cost. So those are the terms as per now. Yes. Chair, the question was on any challenges.
Minister, it is a genuine concern. Many contracts in this country have rolled into a demeasurement without us knowing. You knew that it was initially turnkey, but you find at the end of the day, you're evaluating any demeasured contract, even without you knowing. That's where the issues of cost escalation come in.
Yes, we need to be clear here. And let me re-echo this. You have contracted the person, the contractor. The PAPs are not yet compensated. Don't you think if you find a problem, you are going to die? Either change the route also. Now, these are challenges. That's why we want to be sure. Is this contract fixed or is it a measure? An EPC and still has a measurement.
Okay, proceed.
Chair, to substantiate on that, I'm asking the minister,
the team,
have commitment standby costs or price adjustments accrued since EPC contract was signed in October 2024?
Because, Chair.
Okay.
There are no commitment fees or which are accrued. They came to this contract that is not yet active until government indicates the availability of. The only contract that was is that of LNTP to allow start activity, and that was this is what is expiring 16th of next month. So that's the status.
Thank you, Bwana Chair. We have meeting departments, and similar things have occurred. So when we are actually insulating what is likely to. So you need to be keen what you are responding to. Tomorrow you don't come back here asking for leverage or help. I beg to submit.
like I said, under EPC, the contract has a definite duration and a definite.
Okay, thank you, Chair. To proceed, there was a question on the challenges we have experienced with the PAPs. We have got some challenges, like there are those that try to come back to the alignment when you have already paid them. So what we have done is that we have area offices along the alignment. We have one in Tororo, we have one in Taleja, Namutumba, Iganga, Jinja, and Bukono, to always the alignment, ensure that encroachments. There is also an issue of rejection. I remember there's an honorable member who said that some were claiming that their compensation was low. Yeah, that is true. Those things always come up. However, we engage the CGV, Chief Government Valuer, as a team, plus our team, they go back and do assessments. And at the end of the day, those issues are cleared and sorted out. So these are some of the key challenges we have with the PAPs. Chair, to proceed, we have other issues raised that financing may not be assured, and because of the delay in land acquisition. Government has always supported land acquisition. However, we of course recognize that there has been a delay from the time the project started in 2016 up to now. However, the delay was brought about by the fact that weren't assured of the financing. But as we talk now, as communicated in the report, we have compensated already 65%. And this financial year, the project has got 249 billion. And out of that, 200 is for PAP compensation. And with that, we expect to make significant progress.
And the Honorable Minister, I remember one of my colleagues said, we need a report on the 65%.
Yeah, we
was paid where, how much? We need that summary.
We have the details of all the PAPs paid, one by one. However, there's always, of course, there's always a concern in terms of this information, Honorable Chair, through the Honorable Minister, is always kept internally because of there's a cheat of the PAPs. If this information gets out and people get to know that somebody was paid, say, 1 billion, you can imagine the rate you can have or she may have. But we are going to provide it through Honorable Minister.
Let me first listen to the one who raised the question.
Thank you, Chair. You should just know that when those documents are brought to Parliament, they are very safe. The PAPs will be very safe. They will be protected, but you also be protected. You say even the gate is going to pass via the here well.
Yes.
Are those parts of the PAPs who are going to be compensated? Because here it begins with the gate also being compensated. There are people with land titles. You may find there are people who have land titles all the time. They are also supposed to be compensated.
Thank you very much, Chair, to my Honorable Minister.
Honorable you had something to say?
Yeah, Honorable Chair. The presenter is speaking with the reservation on PAPs. In accountability, we are doing it. May I not be informed if you are not one of the PAPs? Okay. Or some of the members here?
We're not beneficiaries.
Yes. And that is why you are fearing that you may be identified.
Okay.
Chair, I may answer that directly. I'm not, and I don't expect to be, because I don't have any proper alignment. Yes, just as I said, we are going to provide. However, I needed to raise this concern. We always have.
Okay, proceed.
So to proceed, there was a concern on when the contract was signed, the duration and the cost. This was presented in the report. I think the contract was signed in 2024. The duration is supposed to be 4 years from the start. When the construction starts, it's supposed to last 4 years. And the cost is 2.7 billion euros. The progress of LNTP currently is at 89%. So LNTP, the cost is 75 million. So the scope of LNTP is available. I think even if you looked at this presentation, it's listed there. But in case one details, we can always provide.
Okay.
Yes. Then memorandum of understanding between Kenya and Uganda.
Maybe before you leave that, because we are on the procurement part, we asked, how did you procure
the contractor?
The contractor, the ERP Mackenzie, how did you procure?
Chair, the procurement was through direct procurement, and this is provided in our PPD Act. The reason behind this was that, as you are aware, our colleagues from Kenya and Tanzania are already very far, and we are taking long time to look for money. So when the contract that was signed earlier was cancelled, it was seen that going through the longer process, the open bidding, would take quite some time with the administration, given the amount involved. So it was decided that we go through procurement. And this contractor went through evaluation with a team from Minister of Works, Minister of Justice, Minister of Finance, Minister of Lands, and the Minister of Energy. They are quite a constitution of the team was quite broad to ensure that we have the contractor is capable to deliver.
Certainly, this is not a local company. It's not a local firm.
No.
Are you securing the interest of our local content? Are you evaluating it as they proceed?
In the contract, they provided 40%
local content.
Local content, yes.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, I would want, much as you come from, is it Turkey?
Yes.
Due diligence about that particular company. Because you are Ugandan, you have seen, you remember Katosi?
Yes.
Due diligence was done. You remember how we suffered with this company that was doing Northern Bypass?
Yes.
What was it, this company, the name? Eh? No, motor engines came later, the first one. Sarin. Do you know the president stood there and said, we are giving Sarin Bujagara, and I said, no, if we display the power, we can't use a company that has failed to do 21.5 kilometers, doing it in 4 years. He said, no, this money comes from, is the best in Ethiopia. And they gave me a ticket. And with other members, we went to Ethiopia. We found Sarin is one of the best companies you could have. But we asked them what happened with us. Said your contract was very small. For us, we did in big contracts. And we came and saw it because you know what they have done with the Renaissance in Ethiopia. 6,000 megawatts. So we wanted it to go to Karuma to do a good job. But you know what happened? That's your security. It's very
okay.
But we need to do due diligence about that company so that we are not disappointed.
Okay.
I thank you.
I hope it is, not, I hope it is not too late.
Actually, due diligence was done. A team went to Turkey, where the company is based, and they went to some countries in Europe to confirm what was done. They also did actually the part of the Tanzanian SGR, and the team went there as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Proceed, please.
In fact, Mr. Chair, for the sake of...
yeah, let's listen to the Honorable Minister.
This company, Uganda's acquisition of this company was generated from the work they did in Tanzania.
Okay.
So somehow there were some approvals that came from Tanzania before they would get in here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, before? Okay, we can still comment about. We will not comment on that on record also.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, through the Honorable Minister. The other issue was on the cost. I think that one answered.
The cost?
The cost
okay,
in Uganda and Kenya.
You responded, yeah.
Yes. Then the why we're not having SGR in Karamoja. Honorable Chair, the country currently is trying to look for money. Just
I've seen Honorable M adjusting his seat.
The government is currently looking for money to construct SGR from Malaba to Kampala. And this has taken some time. So I think this is just the start. That's what I can say. But with the time...
But for sure, not because we have members on this committee coming from those places, but in the long run, having Karamoja in the scope of another project will be good. We've had the multi-billion investments now taking place in Karamoja. The mineral reserves, all those, I think the sub-region deserves that. Yeah, to the economy.
Through you now, I want this GR team to know that Karamoja is the best thing so far now. So you should interest yourself in making sure that the next phase, Karamoja should be in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Mutukula was taken on record already.
Thank you very much, yes, through the Honorable Minister. The other question was on an acquisition to ginger from Butaleja. Not yet compensated. That was the... Honorable Chair, we have compensated to the extent that even some parts of Mukon have been paid. However, we have a criteria on which we pay. But if a PAP cannot be paid because they have issues, we go to next PAP in alignment.
What are the common issues which can bar you from considering a community?
It could be that the family members disagree on sharing and they refuse to sign. Or alternatively, a PAP can decide to refuse. And the discussions are only with the CGV.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine.
So the other bit was on Yap Mackenzie as a fixed cost. I think this was also answered. The other, then delayed construction of SGR. I think I answered this also in terms of delay in sourcing financing. Because that has been actually the major obstacle in terms of getting SGR started. So the cost for... There was a difference in the estimated cost and how much was paid and in the difference. This 840 is an estimate. Here, like clearly stated, some of these PAPs reject. Like currently, the number between, I think, between Lugazi and Kampala who rejected the compensation. And the discussions are on to go and reassess. So in that case, definitely, there may be some cases where costs may go up. So this 840 is an estimate. And then the other bit is that some government institutions may not require compensation, depending on the discussions we have with them. So these are some of the cases where the total cost against the paid, the balance may not reflect what is shown on the presentation.
Okay.
Then there was an issue on environment and environment impact assessment.
Impact.
Yes.
Environment and social impact.
This was done and their reports reflect. And these reports have been signed off by the team of the financiers, agreeing that they are okay. So the project PMU is, in my view, doing the best to ensure that we maintain our environment and also to live to the international standards as required by the financiers.
I think in relation to that, Honorable Bianyima, they mentioned something about the integrity of the embankments. There's something here.
The back, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Try to bring it clearly. Yeah. It was not, okay, it wasn't you. Oh, that was the earlier party. Okay, thank you. Proceed.
The other bit was on the coupon rate, and then the coupon rate of the sukuk, and then the cost of the sukuk against the ECS. To my knowledge, I think the coupon rate is around 100,000 per unit, and they will be issued, I think, this month, August, as per the program in terms of raising funds through sukuk. This can be, I'm not, but this can be confirmed from
Chair.
Minister of Finance.
Issues of costs, they are fixed, they are definite. Price cannot be around. I think this is something with your knowledge. You tell us the rate.
Chair.
It is somewhere, it cannot be around.
Chair, the rate of sukuk is established by, is determined by Minister of Finance. And as far as we are talking now, that is just a temporary rate. They can increase it to 500 or reduce, depending on, because they are looking at having Ugandans buy into it.
Buona Chair,
so I may not talk.
Sorry to over-interject you. You said that is just the current rate. What is that current rate? You said it will adjust. What is it?
It is 100,000 per year.
Yes, you be on record that it is 100. Why are you dodging?
Stated it, Honorable.
Okay, Honorable Minister and your team, what Honorable Fred is never comfortable with using the word about on issues of finances. And indeed everyone knows that 1,000 shillings is 1,000. You can't say that 1,000 is about 900. No. Based on facts. Okay, proceed.
Yeah, thank you very much. Then the cost of the sukuk against the funding from ECS. Chair, the sukuk is at 10%. I think it's 10%, yes. We had a meeting. We had a meeting, and the discussion was 10%.
Yeah, because thinking is a bit speculative, yes. Isn't it?
Yes. However, I cannot say with certainty what the ESCs will set. The discussions are yet to be made. This is when they will discuss all the terms of the finance during the financial process.
Here on the sukuk coupon, I had asked the rate which he has mentioned, 100, the 10, and I asked the total debt service costs compared with the ECA or DFI financing.
Chair, I don't have that information here. However, we can provide, because that is available from Minister of Finance.
He's avoiding saying about again. He now wants to be exactly the time around.
Buona Chair, I don't want to insinuate like the managing director of URC to insinuate that You are not fully in charge. Do not tempt me to say so. So for you not to tempt me, you tell us. I beg to submit.
Chair, in the presentation, the issue of financing of SGR is under Ministry of Finance. So I wouldn't want to say something without attending.
Okay. Proceed, please. Proceed. Okay. I know you have a few areas left, but.
So they also asked, other members asked how much has been appropriated to the project. Chair, this information is available. We don't have it here, but we can have it delivered in writing.
Is that the question which was referring to what government has so far spent? Yes. The worth? Yes. The worth of our investments?
Yeah. Okay. I think that
Madam Chair, I think next time, the presenter, these are areas which, you know, this committee must know. And if you cannot come with research, sincerely, I say don't force insinuation that you are not in charge.
Please take note of that concern and bring the answer next time you come here.
Yes. Chair, I can give for this year 249, last year 79.02, and even the previous year.
79.02
yes, billion. Yes. The previous year, I didn't start with the project, so I may have an idea of the amounts, but I need to confirm, so that I give you the specific amount.
Madam Chair, you can realize what I say in physics, that persistence breaks resistance. Now the answers are coming. But let's
Okay, thank you.
Chair, this we shall submit together with all the PAPs that have been paid, together with the amounts. We can even give PAP by PAP, because this information is available. Then, memorandum of understanding between Kenya and Uganda doing cooperation. Currently, discussions are on in terms of connecting Kenya SGR to Uganda. Members, as you are aware, initially Kenya constructed Naivasha and took some time. So, government engaged Kenya, and actually there is an agreement, a commitment from Kenya that they are going to extend SGR up to. And as we talk now, the construction has already started. This was even broadcasted on the media. He went and witnessed that extension.
Thank you for that, but make sure that agreement is part of the submissions you will have for this committee to be sure that what you are saying is actually realistic.
Yeah, this one comes with the other anticipation of how we can merge the two designs. The diesel design, the electricity design. So I think it will come with that.
Okay. They also requested for clarification on the capacity of URC to maintain. I think this has been discussed. However, I just need to mention that when the construction starts, this is supposed to take 4 years, and there are plans to ensure that the capacity of URC be brought to date. That's what I can say for now.
Chair, before you go there, let me ask this question. What annual O&M subsidy will URC require after commissioning, and has it been budgeted?
Thanks for the question, Honorable. What I can say is that that will come after 4 years. So as to 4 years from now, it's really not easy to tell how much will be provided for. At least to my knowledge.
Projected?
However, in the contract, we also have other funders that are committed to provide support to strengthen the capacity of the university. Yes. Chair, I think the questions I noted down, because most of them were repeated, I would ask my colleagues if there's any I have not answered and they can chip in.
Thank you, Chair. I asked the question on findings on rapid risk gap assessment.
Any other member who asked the question and it has not been responded
Yes,
to?
Chair.
Let me answer that.
Okay, let this immediately now. Go back to you.
There were gaps that we identified. For example, in the compensation, we would assess the value of the property and then disclose after approval by CGV, we disclose to the PAP, the affected person. If he accepts, we pay. But one of the issues they identified was that we are supposed to have given the PAP option whether to relocate him or her or give money. That is one of them. There are quite a number, but I may not have all of them offhand. Thank you.
Honorable Fred, I hope your question has been responded to. Yes.
Yes, but not satisfactory. Because he's hiding something. He has mentioned one.
What is the
relocation of money? And he said there are others he cannot remember. But it's a critical area. It's very critical. You needed to be privy to it. I beg to submit.
Okay.
Chair.
Yes, there was a question.
Chair, on
which
MDA.
will,
Just a moment. He's on the floor.
There was a question where we wanted to know, because there are road structures being done on ground. So there was a question we wanted to know, is the contractor following the structural drawings and other drawings required, or is still on the draft, which may end up causing us more problems?
Yes.
Thank you very much for that question. Chair and honorable members, we have a contract management committee comprised of Minister of Works team, Minister of Energy, Solicitor General Office, and Minister of Energy. These meet every month to review the reports, and they also go to the field to verify what has been submitted. With respect to the designs, this team is majorly made up of engineers. So what they go and check is what's on the paper against what's been done on the ground. I'm not an engineer per se, but this was...
The concern of the members is they are hoping that the small things being done now are the final part of the bigger picture. Instead of coming to undo, because you first engage the contractor based on draft drawings and so on. That is their worry. Because they are coming from somewhere. The person is not just coming. I know the Honorable Minister knows that these committee members are coming from somewhere. They have an experience somewhere. Where government has been committed based on a draft plans, and then a detailed plan arrives, and we start doing what government had spent money on.
I can say for now with certainty that that is not yet there.
Without
however, I have an engineer, maybe you can make a comment.
You want
yes, Daniel.
Daniel to give a clarification.
Yes, Chair. Also information before engineer comes in. There's the other question I asked about why is ours expensive than the one of Kenya? Because ours, the answer?
Maybe you want it to come to your benefit since you asked it. You'll give a sort of overview. Okay, Daniel.
Yes, Chair. On design being undertaken for the facility that we are doing under limited notice to proceed. Chair, we have an EPC contract which allows the contractor to do the engineering, and we review it through our employer's representative. For the main line, because we are delivering a railway, that's the main deliverable. It is still under preliminary design. So are the facilities that have been constructed. They went through preliminary design. Because they had to be delivered, they went through detailed design. And so we had real construction details for those facilities. Most of them are permanent facilities, but some are temporary facilities, including the camp facilities. But still they go through detailed design to confirm that they are technically suitable for utilization and accommodation.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And the cost disparities? You responded when the author was not here.
The cost disparity, there are a number of factors that make us not compare the cost per unit in Uganda against other countries. I gave a case of the Nile Bridge. It's a very big item on the line. We have the Mbuya Tunnel, which may not be in Kenya, for example. And then also we have spurs, branches from the mainland to other factories and quarries. So this builds on the cost. These are some of them, but there will be others that.
One Chair, I do not want to believe the one of the spurs.
No,
even the spurs are in kilometers. You can measure. But maybe the one you are talking of, the Nile Bridge. What about where it is not crossing the bridge? The Nile. You see, Mr. Honorable is not here. But the other time he gave us for a kilometer of road. In Uganda, it is almost 3 to 4 times higher than the one of Kenya and Tanzania. So you find that the variance is too great. But I'm happy the one who asked the question, the variance when you convert to Ugandan shillings is about 300 what? It's about 111 million. Not so much for the case of the SGR. But for the road, it is terrible. It's terrible. I beg to submit.
Okay. Through you. You see, when you talk about the Nile, when we are preparing a BOQ, that means we cater for it differently. But it doesn't cater for every kilometer, the difference in each kilometer. Because we see the difference between the Kenyan coast and the Ugandan coast. That means we are above by 1 billion in each kilometer. So, if you're talking about the swampy areas, you should have specified here that in the swampy areas, the number of kilometers are going to cost this. The Nile, the 1 kilometer River Nile bridge that is supposed to be there is going to cost this. Because the you don't assume that. Different. Now, what if we say, okay, each kilometer 2.7 billion? I mean, $7.3 $2 million. Will that make for you 1 kilometer bridge? Will it make it for you in the Nile? No. That's why we're asking. Why is ours in each kilometer having $1 billion shillings on top? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. The comparison that the Honourable Chair is putting forward is appreciable, but like my colleague has said, there are no differences between Uganda and Kenya. And to take you back, you will note that Kenya's section that gets to Malaba is much more expensive than the 7.6. I think you have per kilometer. Should be about 11 or 13 $million per kilometer, because they are going through a rift valley, and that's come to the cost. But the direct answer to that disparity, if we're going to compare like for likes, is because Kenya is constructing to diesel traction and Uganda is constructing to electric traction. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Yes,
There'll be information before.
Hold on, Honorable.
You see, when you look at the planned kilometers we're working on, they're about 72 kilometers from Kampala to Malaba. So when you multiply by that 1 kilometer, that 1 billion that you've added in each kilometer, it comes to 273 billion. This is too much. You see, sometimes we know how engineers, accountants, inflate the BOQs, and then it seems a small figure, but when you put it cumulative, that's why now you're seeing which will be funding each kilometer, all the 272 kilometers. That means we're losing about 272 billion. That's too much. So we know what happens with those BOQs. So that's the explanation we need to know before we move on. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I think this particular part of the costing would require a proper assessment on what exactly are we putting into place vis-a-vis what Kenya put. If we are running on an electrical system and Kenya moved on a diesel, would the diesel be more expensive than electrical, or is electrical more expensive than diesel? Those are some of the areas we need to look at.
Yeah.
But as a committee, this is something we can sit back and look at. Probably if we should have capacity to get this argument before the committee, it might have more details to explain that if we are able to get the argument. But as of now, maybe let's look at the details which my team is trying to give, and then it can also help the committee on the other side to take a decision.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable. Okay. Honorable.
Mr. Chair, the other question that they have not answered was the issue of the MDA land identified of 1,253 hectares, whether it is compensated or not.
Okay. There's a mention he had about it, but let him repeat it clearly. The MDA land.
For MDA land for institutes of government, some of them actually they have not been compensated yet because they are part of government. The discussions are still on whether to compensate or not. But as per now, I cannot say we are going to compensate.
And that could be why some of the pubs keep rolling back.
Chair, as now we have processed 82 titles from the page, and we have 144 that will be processed. Most of the 82 it is land that you are paid wholly. There's just a few that need to be returned to the pubs. So there's a process of acquiring land, and it's not uneasy. I know we are not doing that very well in it, but there is a concerted effort to ensure that the land that has been paid for is transferred to government. No, it's not yet. Out of what we have paid, we have only processed 82 completely up to the end. And then 144 titles are in the process.
Okay.
One Chair, then ascertaining the 62%, 65% is still a big challenge. with your presentation now answering the question, you have not yet reached 65%.
Chair, through the Honourable Minister, issues of transferring land that has been paid is not straightforward like you get one title, because when you're acquiring land, most of this land is customary in villages. So it needs you to first clear the whole village, for example, and then you just make it now registering government names. Other than, because the payments, they are always issued along the line when they are compensating. A compensation of land, it needs you to be on the ground to really appreciate the challenge. But I can tell you that PMU is making progress significantly, because up to now we have even paid some from Kono.
Yeah.
Bwana Presenter,
yeah.
Are you saying that the 65% of land you have acquired, if everything was okay, you would start construction on the 65% land now?
Without any further...
Chair, I wouldn't say we would start, because some of that has been recent. And there are 21 steps in what? The appropriating land. Moving it from somebody to government. There are 21 steps. So that takes time. And here we are dealing with different offices. So what I can only say now is that PMU is doing their best. Because we know it's an area we are working on to ensure that at least by the time we start construction, what has been paid is with government. I thank you.
Yeah. Okay, maybe whether the 5% had the engineering source, it was from any source, how was it computed? If you need support from the engineers or you did the computation yourself, how did you arrive at 65%?
Chair, we have an estimate of what we expect to acquire.
In this case, which was 3,512 acres, on slide 17,
yes,
3,512 acres is the total requirement.
Yes.
And then land already paid for is 2,047.51, isn't it?
Yes.
So will that be part of the ingredients of computing this 65%?
Yes.
And in that case, you will come up with the 58%, not 65%, if you use those two figures. So the concern by Honorable Fred still becomes genuine. If you use these two figures, you arrive at 58%, not 65%. I'm seeing as if Daniel wants to give you support.
Chair, there are a number of parameters on how you can compute land acquisition. One, you can compute by acreage. How many acres do you need? How to say if you need 100 acres, I've acquired 65. I can also compute it by number of pups. If I have 10,000 pups and I've paid 6,500, still gives you 65%. But in this case,
how about by amount of money so far paid?
Yes, you can also look at by amount of money paid, but that can be misleading because some areas are more prime than others. So you'll find that the remaining 10% could cost more than the paid 90% if you use that aspect.
But perhaps can be more concentrated in one place than
exactly.
others.
Exactly. But to give you comfort on the parameter in this is that the section between Malaba, kilometer 0, and Jinja, 150 kilometers, and that makes 65% of the route, Chair, and that's the basis for this figure.
Yeah. Now that you have made it clear, I can see the members as if they are resting their cases now on that point.
But my case has not been explained.
Okay. The disparity.
The disparity is 1 billion.
The excess cost per kilometer in Uganda on top of the cost in Kenya. Like Honorable Minister had asked that some of these details could be justified later when they are returning to us. Is that going to be the third deliverable? We had 2 before.
Maybe you could tell us, Daniel, how did you build the rate? The rate per kilometer. How did you build it?
The rate per kilometer.
Maybe in the swamp, and then the one in the swamp, one on the dry land, one on the...
not exactly. There are a number of areas that are involved in sub cost centers that we may look at. One is earthworks, which goes with the slope protection, soil improvements, and including geotech. There are structures, bridges, tunnels, underpasses, and all those. Then we have truck works, which we call permanent. That also takes a bit of quite some substantial amount. Stations and other buildings will take some money. There is the element, Chair, of signaling and telecom and IT equipment.
No, what will he want to appreciate?
Yes.
Truck to truck. You live with other, amenities. Truck
to truck component.
Truck to truck component. That 1 kilometer for truck and 1 for truck in Kenya.
In Kenya.
So
I think, Chair, if you may allow, we can provide that information.
Okay.
Because it is required to look through the Kenyan authentic figures and we compare. For the areas where we think we have guided that truck for truck, and we take away the terrain differences which can bring in discrepancies.
Yeah, we can take that as the third take-home assignment. But broadly, the justification by the Honorable Minister holds a lot of water. The question of how do you compare the, as I said before, European design in terms of cost against the Chinese design. The other is diesel, the other one is electrical, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the explanation of the Honorable Minister.
Yeah.
Yes, let me first